Get in the game. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Livingston, and this is another episode of Conversations from Stritch. It's wonderful to see you this afternoon. I really hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with, I know, limited family and friends, but this year, as many things that's changed for Thanksgiving and Advent, we are still incredibly grateful for so much and anticipating what comes with Christmas. So I hope you and your family are enjoying yourself. As all of us are working through these last 2 weeks of the semester in this now back to fully online experience, we still do have a few students on campus, some of our international students, but the majority of students went home for Thanksgiving, stayed there, and are continuing to do their work in the online format. I did want to say a couple things. Really enjoyed. So I know the last time we were on, I mentioned the theater production. Really enjoyed that and didn't know the history. In fact, my sister-in-law used to live in Ottawa, and so I've been to the town many times, and I didn't know all that history. So grateful to everybody at Philip Lynch and, of course, people here in the studio who made it possible for us to live stream for people who are able to see the theater production. And we'll have more theater productions as the year goes on. Also wanted to say that I know you may have to make a choice here in the next hour, but our women's basketball team has a contest this afternoon starting at 4:30 against University of Indianapolis. We did have 4 games last weekend, which was great. And this season, like so many things in our lives, are going to be challenged by what the impact that COVID virus has. So we will probably have some cancellations, because if different teams end up not being able to play because somebody on the team, then we might have to not play that game and play another game later in the season or a replacement. The last thing that I want to say before I turn it over to Dr. Sent is some really sad news. Most of you should have received an email from me this afternoon. We lost a brother, Brother Leo, who many of you know through campus ministry, and who has worked especially with our international students, passed away this last week from complications related to COVID. It's such a loss to our community, to the community of brothers. And we just, pray for his family. His family's out in Iowa. We pray for them and their loss. And of course, to all of you who knew Brother Leo as a friend and a mentor and somebody you looked up to, it's just a loss to the LaSallians, certainly in our local community, but around the world. So sadness and celebration. Today we have a few announcements that Chris will make, and then we're turning it over to celebrating one of our finest on our show today. So we're looking forward to that.
Great. Thank you so much, President Livingston, and great to be with everyone today. And it is a week of transition in many ways. I did want to point out one other thing, which is that we, in addition to, a little bit of more detail about going online. So I just want to reassert the fact that we went from being hybrid and in person combined with online last week to being fully online this week. That constitutes literally, coincidentally, exactly 1,000 classes went from being in person or hybrid to being online this week. Wow. And I told a group that I was just meeting with this afternoon that it's a real testament to our community that we do something like that without really even pausing to think about the significance of it. So again, to our students who are making this transition, to our faculty who've prepared for the transition all semester long and have now made it, we cannot express our gratitude enough for how effective and flexible and creative all of our community has been in terms of making this transition into the last phase of the fall semester. I will be sending out my usual weekly letter today. I'll just give a couple highlights from that now before introducing our guests. That letter includes some updates on Super Study in preparation for the conclusion of the semester, a loosening of the residence life visitor policy to allow for residents in different halls to socialize together in common areas in the residence halls, changes to the COVID-19 dashboard that reflects the smaller population in our residence halls now. I did my English professor math last week around how we calculate the quarantine and isolation numbers. So now our denominator of that equation has changed to about 260 students living on campus now. So when we do post the percentage of students who are in quarantine, it's now the percentage of 260 rather than 950 or so, as it was before. The reminder that we have free COVID-19 tests on Tuesdays. Students, faculty, and staff should contact the hotline team if you are interested in taking advantage of that free testing in order to reserve a testing time. And then another reminder, as always, to use the Lewis U app. Contact to either indicate symptoms if you're coming to campus or are a resident student on campus now, and also to report positive COVID-19 tests. Through the end of the semester, through the Christmas holiday, and into the spring semester, we want to hear from you through the app and through any other means of contacting the COVID-19 hotline about any experiences related to COVID-19. So now, with those things being said, I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Kurt Schackmuth, who is our Associate Provost for Student Success and Vice President for Mission. And he has been on with us. Maybe this might be his third time, so it's great to have you back, Kurt. And I know that you have a few different things you'd like to touch on today, so I'll let you maybe go through them or start with the first one.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's good to be with you. I think this is my third time. So do I get some sort of a special badge for that?
Maybe after 5.
You and Nancy are in a competition for who's going to be on most as a guest. So
there will be an award at the end of the year.
Well, I'm a guest on the show today, but we have a really special guest that we want to honor today and recognize. And this is our Lincoln Academy Student Laureate for the fall 2020, spring 2021 academic year. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Lincoln Academy and the state of Illinois recognize a senior from each 4-year degree granting institution each year who demonstrates exceptional leadership and service, and who really is an excellent student when it comes to their co-curricular and curricular activities. And so we have a process here at the university where we invite our faculty and staff to nominate students who fit these criteria, and we select an individual to receive the Lincoln Academy Award and to be recognized by the state of Illinois. And there's a special ceremony that typically takes place in Springfield. Of course, that ceremony wasn't able to take place physically this year, but it has been arranged virtually. And today we want to take just a few moments to recognize this year's Lincoln Laureate from Lewis University, and that's Grace Crumbaugh. And so she's here with us today. Grace is a senior. She graduates next May, and she is very ambitious academically, Dave and Chris. She's a double major in philosophy of law and public policy, and she's also double minoring in peace studies and Spanish. So we're really excited about recognizing her, and really happy to have her with us today. So welcome, Grace.
Grace, it's so good to have you with us this afternoon, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, Grace, it's so great that you're here with us. And I guess the first thing we want to do is, well, let me say that for the last 2 years at least, I've had the great honor of going to Springfield with our Lincoln Laureate and being a part of this amazing ceremony that takes place in the old State House. So we're sad that you don't get to do that, and I don't get to do that with you. So it's a beautiful ceremony, and one of the parts of the ceremony is getting the medallion. So I think it's a little bit off screen. So maybe just to begin with, could you maybe lift it up and show everyone the award itself? Yay, how beautiful.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much. So
Wow.
that's awesome. So it is an incredible, as Kurt said, it's just a great, meaningful group of people to be in a community with. The winner of this award from every other university in the state of Illinois. And it's actually an organization that it's a lifetime organization that you are now a member of. And so it's a Lincoln Laureate community will live with you for the rest of your career. So that's really exciting, and we're really happy about that. And so we just want to talk to you a little bit.
One of the things I would say, Grace, is, when these nominations come through and then you read the activities and the accolades and the amazing thing you've done over the last 4 years. And of course, I've been down there too before for the Lincoln Laureate presentation, and they go through these amazing attributes of different students.
Yeah.
You sit at the table with families and hear all the things that they've done. So as Dr. Sint said, being a part of that community, I mean, you're one of 70 people, 70 college and university students in the state who have just done incredible things. And I want to both acknowledge that, congratulate you, thank you. But maybe, I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about the future. I mean, so as Dr. Schackmuth said, you are, involved, it seems like, in things related to kind of public policy, but you're also in peace studies, getting a Spanish minor. So what do you hope to do over the coming years? You've accomplished so much here at Lewis. So what does the future hold?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process of applying to law school. So I'm looking at different places, but I really want to concentrate in educational law and policy, and kind of work towards educational reform eventually.
That is great and exciting. And so do you want to stay in the Illinois area? Do you have a desire to be, go somewhere else in the country in terms of law school?
I've looked at other places, but I'm mostly looking to stay in Illinois.
Great, great. And the other thing, and Chris may have some questions as well, but the other thing I saw on your very extensive kind of resume is that you're a Give Something Back scholar. And we have a number of those every year. Bob Carr, who founded Give Something Back, has been really generous with Lewis University. He grew up in the Lockport area, and he's made it possible for students to be able to receive a scholarship to attend not just Lewis, but other universities around the country. Could you talk a little bit about that experience? Because I know that means that you had some mentoring and stuff you did in high school that then led you into the possibility of receiving this scholarship for Lewis.
Yeah, so the Give Something Back scholarship, I applied for as a freshman in high school, and I was assigned a mentor that was in college, and so they kind of just checked in on me and helped me to apply to college, kind of gave me advice on like what to do when I was stressed, or like when I was looking for colleges, like what I wanted to find in a college. They also had various events of like authors and people that had gone through the program themselves that were successful, and just kind of giving us advice and kind of how they got passionate about what they're into. So it was definitely a rich experience that helped me, shaped me, and also like got me to where I am today. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, we're so glad that you chose Lewis and you're here with us. I guess I have a couple of questions. We do have people who watch this show either live or afterwards, who are earlier in their college careers or even thinking about coming to Lewis in some cases. So maybe, could you just maybe tell us a little bit of the story of why or how you chose those academic fields that you majored and minored in, and how that evolved?
Yes, it's kind of funny because I happened upon my major, philosophy of law, by accident. I was sitting with I came in undecided, and I was sitting with my advisor going through classes, And one of the classes that I was interested in, it said it counted for philosophy of law. And I was like, what is that? So I was in ethics at the time. And so I asked my professor about it. And so he was telling me about it. And I was like, wow, that sounds really, it sounds like a platform that could give me the chance to make a difference, you know? And so I started to go through the process of applying for philosophy of law. And then I came across public policy. And I was like, well, that would be a good pair with that. So I added that as a major. And then I attended an event that Christy Billups was at, and she is the head of peace studies. And she actually found me in a hallway. I think I was like going to a meeting. And she said, you're Grace Crumbaugh. And I was like, yeah. And she was telling me about the peace studies program. And it just sounded like such a unique way to look at the world, and also to fight for justice and you know, learn the skills that are needed for that. So I was like, that's perfect. And then I also just wanted to do Spanish, just because there are so many Spanish speaking people in this country, and to be able to learn a different language helps you relate to a totally different set of population.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Grace, one of the things that I'm interested in is this kind of, maybe it's kind of the connective tissue that's underneath all of this, in terms of where your interests lie, and how that evolved, as Dr. Sint said, you know, where the meeting of these professors and the ability to be involved in different programs, because you're not only an accomplished scholar, but a beautiful musician. So could you talk a little bit about the way in which you're kind of that Renaissance woman, so to speak? How these issues of academics and life outside of your classwork has kind of been a rich part of your life at Lewis?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up music. I have been humming before I could talk, my mom said when I was little. And it's just always been a part of my life. I play piano and I sing, and I'm trying to learn guitar. So it's just kind of been my escape, a place to be vulnerable with other people and share, maybe not my experiences, but just kind of reach people at a state that maybe you can't with words or with actions. And so being a part of music ministry here, I've met some amazing people. I have definitely grown in my faith because of it. And just being able to worship with others just gives that sense of home at Lewis. So I love that.
Yeah, it's another thing I'm really grateful for, because when I'm at Mass, you have a beautiful voice, and you're really a leader in terms of that choir. So thank you for the years of of beauty that you bring to the community, and allowing us to kind of get into a meditative space because of your willingness to be active, while we can then center ourselves on our spirituality. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
And I definitely second that. We will miss your voice, absolutely, when you're gone. I just maybe want to follow up a little bit, and then we'll let you go. What kind of advice would you give so you just described your time singing and being a musician, as well as working with ministry. I know you also are really engaged with community engaged learning, for example, on campus, and you've done a lot of other great experiences while being a student. And all of our students don't necessarily have all those opportunities to do those things, but do you have advice around how to discover your passion and how to follow up on that, in terms of finding the time and the space to do those kinds of co-curricular, extracurricular activities?
Yeah, so actually one skill that I've learned from community engaged learning is reflection. And so to be able to just look back on your life and kind of see where your interests are pulled to, and honestly not saying no to opportunities. I'm kind of one that is a little scared to take opportunities that help me grow, but also I've had so many that I just had that push to do it. And so I did not regret it, and I grew so much from it and learned so much from it and learned about myself. So I think just to continually look for ways to learn about yourself and talk with professors or mentors that you have at Lewis or other students, and just kind of put yourself out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. You've certainly put yourself out there and created, for us as a community. I often say this to prospective seniors and in high school when they come to visit days. We want those students that come to our community to shape us just as we are trying to, inform them and give them an education. But the 6,400 students that we have as a part of this community make the community, and you have certainly shaped and changed Lewis University, and your legacy will continue many years after you're gone. So thank you so much, Grace, for all you've done for Lewis, and we wish you nothing but the best, and we look forward to seeing you at commencement in a few months, but I hope the rest of the time here is really fulfilling.
And congratulations.
Yes, and I'm so grateful to Lewis for everything that they've provided me. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, congratulations,
Yeah, congratulations, Grace.
And you are now welcome to leave while we talk about other things. Thanks again so much. And Kurt, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. That's our show, huh?
That's
we've hit the climax of the show.
That is a
Grace
very
is awesome.
Tough act to follow. I apologize.
It is. Well, I have some updates on an equally exciting topic, though, and that is our plans for commencement, which is coming up soon, December 19th and 20th. And as you know, we had to postpone our May 2020 degree ceremonies, and we were really hoping that we'd be able to have those ceremonies in person this December, but for obvious reasons, we had to take the very prudent and safe step of developing virtual ceremonies for both our May 2020 graduates as well as our December 2020 graduates. And so I'd like to share a little bit of information about what we've been doing to develop these opportunities for our graduates. You see on the screen right now our schedule. And so our virtual ceremonies are scheduled for Saturday, December 19th, and that's for our May 2020 grads. Our undergraduate ceremony is at 10:30 a.m., and the graduate ceremony will take place at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, December 20th, we'll begin our day with a baccalaureate mass, and then our August-December graduates will be able to see their ceremony, which takes place for undergraduates at 10:30 and graduates at 1:30. And this same information is is on the Lewis website at lewisu.edu/commencement. And of course, all of our graduates have received mailings and emails to their Lewis email accounts with this kind of information. So you might be asking, well, what will these experiences for our graduates look like? We had a great group of individuals who've been involved in planning these ceremonies. And we spent time over the summer and early in the fall taking a look at what other universities have done to honor their students in virtual ceremonies, and doing some creative brainstorming, talking to our various partners in commencement planning. And we've come up with what we hope will be a very personalized and customized experience for our graduates. And so if we could put up the other slide related to commencement, I can say a little bit more about this. So in November, we held a handful of drive-up events where we invited our graduates from May and December to come to campus and pick up some of those keepsake items that are so important to them. And so we had, over the course of 3 days in November, 550 of our graduates came to campus. They took up the opportunity to pick up a diploma cover, a program book for the ceremonies, an alumni decal, and for those who were eligible, their honor cords. And so this was a really great experience. We had a number of volunteers from around the university who participated in helping to organize the drive-up events and distribute the materials to the graduates. And it was really a nice experience. The graduates drove right up in front of the rec center, and we had people with red and white Lewis pom-poms and a cowbell and music. And it was a great way to welcome these students to campus. They didn't have to get out of their cars or anything. We just handed them a bag full of these materials. and they were able to go on their way. And so what it means then is that the graduates will have some of these important items from their ceremony. Not to fear, though, if graduates weren't able to make it to campus for the drive-through event, there's an option to have these items mailed to your home. And so this week, a form on the Lewis commencement website went live. And so students can just submit the form, and the registrar's office will send these materials to students later this year. Actually, they'll be sent in the beginning of next year in January. But it's a great way to make sure that students have these keepsake items. So that was one of the first things that we did to give our students some taste of their graduation experience.
So, Kurt,
the other thing
Kurt, just a quick thing. You mentioned that about 500 people came to the drive-through event. About how many students between these two commencement ceremonies will be, I mean, just in broad terms, I don't need the decimal point, so to speak, but how many people will be going through the 2 days of ceremonies, the 4 different ceremonies at the end of this month?
Yeah, we're celebrating 1,800 graduates over the course of these 4 ceremonies on commencement weekend. So it's a really it's a good group of students. It's a great group of students to celebrate.
That's amazing. Yeah, wonderful. And I know you had more to say. I just wanted to kind of get a little sense of that.
Yeah. Jump in, interrupt anytime, ask questions. So here's the really cool part about what we're going to be able to do to personalize the experience for our graduates. We're partnering with Grad Images, which is the company that normally would be present on our campus to take photos of all the graduates when they cross the stage. And they have this great product that we're working with them on, and it's called a grad slide. And what it means is that during the virtual graduation ceremony, each of our graduates will have a screen or a slide that's dedicated to them. And it'll include their name and their degree and their college. And if they submitted a photo, if they took the option or fulfilled the option, they will have a photo of themselves on that same screen, on that slide. So starting in November, Grad Images reached out to all of our Lewis grads and invited them to submit a photo. And we had lots and lots of students who responded to that request. And so when the ceremonies debut on the 19th and 20th, and it's time to call the names of all the graduates, each graduate will have a screen set aside for them that will include this information. And their name will be read aloud, and they'll be able to hear Joe Felice, our legendary commencement name reader, read their name. And it'll be hopefully what we believe is a customized experience for our graduates. We can't have the ceremony here on campus. We can't do all the great personalized traditions that we normally do, but we are trying to make the most of it in our virtual ceremonies.
That's great, Kurt. We had a couple questions that have come in. So one of them was about whether there will be an opportunity in the future to get a photo with the president in cap and gown. So I guess that's somewhat
Should've
up to
let
me.
Ask him that question.
So instead of asking you, but I certainly think that as we get into this, which we'll talk about a little bit more, as we get into the vaccinated part and we're getting back into normal time, I would love to have an opportunity where, just like the drive-through days, where we might set up a couple days, in the spring when it's warmer out, that if students want to come back and take a photo, you bring your cap and gown, I'll wear my cap and gown. We'll have a professional photographer there, and we can get photos of me handing you your diploma cover or shaking hands or whatever. So I think we can find that as a possibility, but let's make sure that doesn't become a super spreader event. So we'll wait a little bit for that to happen. But I would love to have the opportunity to shake your hand. It's one of those, it's just a really wonderful day for all of us. I know this will be different, but Dr. Schackmuth and his team have done a great job of making this a special event for people by putting these special touches in there. And then we can certainly in the future continue that.
And then Kurt, the other
we're already beginning to plan for the future in terms of photos. And if unfortunately in May 21 we're in the same situation that we're in now, we're going to continue to work to create really customized, personalized experiences for our graduates. I'm sorry, Chris, I interrupted you.
No, thank you. That's great to hear that. And I know there are a lot of questions still about May. So the other question that came in has to do with the way it preserves that. So you mentioned that the unveiling of the ceremony is commencement weekend. If people miss it for some reason, will they be able to see it after that weekend?
Yes, it will be it's recorded and it'll be available to graduates on our YouTube page and our website. So if you didn't get a chance to view it, you'll be able to go back and see it, and you can send links to relatives and other people so that they'll have the chance to watch it as well.
Yeah, hopefully this will become something that people can virtually watch and, talk to your grandma about it who couldn't come, but you can send them the link and then call them up and they can have seen you move through the ceremony, your name being announced, your picture being up on the format. So yeah, it's wonderful.
We've also created a way for our faculty and staff to congratulate and offer special messages to the graduates. And so right now we are in the process of inviting our faculty and staff to record a brief video message of congratulations to the graduates. And as you both know, we have a great team of people who are working on these videos, and they're going to be able to put together all of these messages from faculty and staff. And at the end of the degree ceremony videos, you'll be able to see these messages from faculty and staff. And so I would encourage all of our faculty and staff that are watching today to watch your Lewis email. You've already received one email, and you'll receive reminders in the coming days to submit a brief video for us so that we can congratulate our grads.
That's great, Kurt.
I think this last question is one you've already kind of addressed that we really just don't know the answer to yet. Another question came in from a student just asking what the likelihood is that we'll have a live in-person ceremony in May of 2021. And I think at this point we just don't know, but unless you have a crystal ball that I don't have, Kurt.
That question's above my pay grade, Dave. I'm afraid I can't answer that.
Yeah, so, and I really don't want to make light of it. For the people asking who are watching, we really do recognize, how difficult this is, because people have spent 4 or 5 years. They've been looking forward to this day. We're trying to make it as special as possible, and we will work to have a live commencement ceremony as soon as it is appropriate relative to public health, and whether that's in May of 21 or December of 21, we will get back to live ceremonies in which we're all in a room together celebrating. We just don't know when that is going to be.
And we're so grateful, Kurt, to you and to the planning committee for this commencement. It sounds incredibly special and unique, and we know that if we're in some kind of hybrid situation for the spring, it might be different than this. It might be different than a traditional ceremony. We know that the group will come up with something incredible for our students, and it's great. I mean, it's just very nice to have the comfort of that as we're thinking through these things. And we're also just so appreciative to the faculty who have been the deans, the faculty, all the people who have been working on making this particular commencement ceremony special through their recorded messages and so on. It's really makes a difference, and so we're happy about that. I think.
Yeah, big shout out to the registrar's office staff. They're doing a fantastic job of working behind the scenes to make all of this really special, as well as the whole commencement coordinating committee. So thank you, Chris, and I echo those words of appreciation.
Great. So we've talked about commencement. We've celebrated our Lincoln Laureate. So we've been and made some updates about the current semester and shifting to online. We just want to spend a little time before we close today with Kurt talking about the spring and some aspects of the spring. Our show next week will focus almost entirely on that. We'll reiterate some of the planning for spring and see the results of our student life survey and how we might take advantage of what we're learning from that survey, reflect on that with some guests next week. But we want to talk with you, Kurt, today about something that you're kind of responsible for managing, which is the GEAR grant, which stands for Governor's Emergency Education Relief Grant, which we're so happy to have received. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that, and then we'll probably all three of us can talk about some of its attributes together.
Yeah, this is really a great opportunity for our students. The GEAR grant was a grant that a handful of individuals worked on over the summer and applied for, and we were really, really excited to get this grant. It is a grant that is just shy of $450,000, and it is designed to support some of our neediest students, and it creates a set of programs and opportunities that will impact and support the students during the spring 21 semester and the summer of 2021. And so the grant calls for about 250 students to receive additional support in the form of mentorship and accompaniment and academic support. And all of these things, as you know, is very much in keeping with what we believe is so important about our mission, our LaSallian tradition. And so the grant is designed to provide mentorship and support, but it's also designed to recognize that this transition to online learning during the pandemic is not necessarily easy for all students. And so providing that encouragement and inspiration for students is one component, but there's also a very logistical, practical aspect of that. And so some of these grant funds will further support our STAR program, which is the Student Technology Academic Resources Program. And that means we'll be able to provide more loaner laptops and more loaner Wi-Fi hotspots to students who need them, as well as headphones that will allow them to concentrate on their online learning and to maybe not worry about the technology aspects of their education, especially if they're having trouble finding the resources to pull together that technology, or if their family or work situation was impacted by this awful pandemic that we're experiencing. In addition, there is support built into the grant program for the purchase of textbooks, which increasingly is a great need for our students. And there's even a component of the program for childcare support. So we know that so many of our students are working. We know that some of our students are parents of children, and they're going to school at the same time and trying to work. And we know that lives have been turned upside down during this pandemic. And so there's even a component that will assist our students with childcare needs. So, I mean, I'm really excited about the grant. I think it is a vote of confidence from the governor in terms of what Lewis is able to do in terms of realizing our mission and supporting students. And we're starting to pull together all the right people that are going to make this work. So a great team of individuals from offices across the university are doing some great creative thinking and brainstorming and are pulling together the right plans to roll this program out very soon.
Yeah, Kurt, thank you really for your willingness to lead this project. Thank you to Chris and you. And as you said, many people who were involved in the writing of this grant, in the creative, what do students most need in this kind of a time? And I guess I want to tie a couple things together. You talked about the potential for childcare, reimbursement, which we're still working through all the details on that, so I don't have all the details on that. Textbooks, Wi-Fi hotspots, and potentially laptops as loaners. Some of these things are what seem like the smaller things sometimes relative to tuition, but sometimes it can be the stumbling block that says, I don't know if I can continue in the spring semester. So I guess I want to just assure those students who are, they're at Lewis right now, they're finishing up their semester, they're stressed out because it's been a long semester with a lot of changes, and they're looking to the spring. There are COVID-19 relief funds, which we've talked about before on this program. And then you have the STAR program. You have the potential to receive a voucher for purchasing your books, which sometimes can be $250, $300, $400 a semester. And then you also have the possibility of receiving some childcare relief if you need to leave your children in order to attend classes. I think it is a testament to our community that the way the grant was written, there was $5 million available for the whole state. There are almost 80 institutions in the state of higher ed, and we received, basically 10% of the total pool here at Lewis to help our students, which is a real, like I said, a testament to the creativity and the way that we have supported students in the past and the students who really need things now. So I'm thrilled about this program. I don't know if, you said that there's going to be an application process available to students. Should they be looking for that in the next 3 or 4 weeks? Will it be an online application like what we've had for the COVID-19 Relief Fund?
Right now, the plan is to invite students who are those that we believe are eligible for this particular program, and they'll be receiving an email and perhaps other forms of outreach where we'll be asking them, we'll be telling them about the program, and then we'll be asking them to consider applying. And there'll be several waves of invitations, and those will go out in the next 3 to 4 weeks, as you suggest. That's right.
That's great.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate our appreciation for the work, for your leadership of the work. It is really Dr. Bill Seiler, who is our Director of Sponsored Programs or Sponsored Research at Lewis, did an incredible job of, with lots of great help from others, of writing this grant. And it's a testament to and someday we'll maybe focus on some of the grants we've been receiving to share with the community. But I also want to emphasize one other aspect of what both of you said, which is that we were one of the largest recipients of these grants because of our tradition and our mission and our ability to demonstrate that we can support students who have been historically marginalized, and really we know how to support and work with students and meet students where they are in their needs and so on. And so I'm delighted that we can continue that tradition through this grant and your execution of it, Kurt. So thank you.
And to some extent, go ahead, Kurt.
No, I just want to draw a connection between one of the core aspects of this program that will grow out of the grant and Grace, who was with us a few minutes ago. One of the things that she mentioned in her experience at Lewis is really good advising and faculty who reached out to her and encouraged her to get involved in activities. And one of the components of this grant is accompaniment and support by faculty members and peers. And so that's how we help students to make the most of their experience at the university. And ultimately, it helps them to move towards graduation, something else we talked about today. So my hope is that the things that we're doing as part of the program that grows out of this grant will create more experiences and will help us to graduate more Grace Crumbaughs and more students like her who have a really rich, valuable experience here at the university.
Yeah, it's really well said. It's exactly who we want to be, a place where people can come and receive from multiple directions, the mentoring, the kind of compassion, and also the invitation to excel that these kinds of opportunities create for our students. That's great. Thank you so much, Kurt, for your work on this, for bringing Grace to us through this program. Just an amazing young woman, and we look forward to seeing what she's going to do in the future. So thanks again for joining us for the third time today.
Glad to be here.
Dr. Sand. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the show today. If I just want to say again, we've said it a few times today already, but thank you to all of our faculty and staff for all the incredible work that you've done. We have a little way to go, but I know that sometimes that last mile of the marathon is the worst. So we recognize the challenges and stress that you're under, both as faculty and staff, and of course our students. It's been a stressful experience for our students. I watched the app, and some of the students' comments about how exhausted they are both moving and sometimes quite funny because they're talking about how challenging it is. But we have a week and a half till classes are over and then finals. So we will get through this. Reminding people that registration is open. So if you haven't registered yet, reach out to your advisor, get the registration done. If you have holds on your accounts or there's other reasons why you're not registering, make sure to reach out to those offices because they really want to work with you to help you find your way towards next semester and the semester after that until you get to commencement, which we are excited about 1,800 students that are going to virtually walk across the stage in a few weeks. Thank you again for joining us. It's wonderful to be with you, and we wish you many blessings for you and your family in the week ahead.